Mission Impossible is a great franchise, and the surprising thing is, lately it was getting better and better with each new entry. Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation had some of the best car and motorcycle chases I've ever seen. I bought that on digital and I literally just turn on the car and motorcycle chase scenes whenever I remember the movie. And Mission Impossible 6 Fallout is a masterpiece from start to finish, with the bathroom fight scene being one of the best visceral fight scenes ever, not to mention another motorcycle chase that was almost as good as its predecessor, and the skydiving and helicopter scenes which were just pure eye candy. I also bought this movie on digital, and I sometimes scroll through the set pieces, but oftentimes I'll just get sucked into the movie and end up watching the whole thing. As I said, masterpiece. So then comes Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I thought, how can they possibly top Fallout? Well, they didn't. Don't get me wrong, this is a fun movie, and the final act doesn't feel like a drag even with the 2 hour and 43 minute runtime, but the pacing lagged in the middle, the fight scenes weren't as tight and entertaining as the predecessors, and there were a couple movie magic moments in the end that made me think, come on, really? It took me out of the moment, which is never a good thing. I also didn't like what they did with one character, although I see why they made that choice. I'll get into all that. When I left the theater, I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. I didn't mean to have high expectations, but I guess subconsciously I couldn't help myself comparing it to Fallout. Before I further share my gripes about the movie, I want to say if you love action movies and you love the previous movies, go watch this in theaters. It's made for the big screen, it's a fun movie, and you'll probably enjoy it way more than I did. I'm probably a really rare case where I watched Fallout so many times and love that movie so much that it tainted my experience with this movie. Also, spoiler warning. When I first talk about the pacing, it's not much of a spoiler, but when I get into the movie magic moments and talking about a character, those are heavy spoilers. Turn off this video and go watch the movie first if you haven't seen it yet. If you have seen the movie, let's get into it. The pacing notably dragged for me in one scene. That's when the team, Ilsa, Ethan, Benji, and Luther are talking about their plan to go up against the AI. Ethan is saying that he should go in alone, and the others are saying we should do it as a team. It just felt like this was repeated territory from previous movies and a waste of time. We know they're going on this mission as a team, and shit's going to go down, so get to it already. Stop wasting time with this drawn out dialogue where the conclusion is obvious. Get to the next set piece after the minimum necessary information. I wasn't a fan of the donut scene during the car chase. If it was like one donut, maybe two, it would have been fine, but they kept spinning the car in circles again and again just for comedic effect. It wasn't funny, it was dragging on way too long, not to mention the assassin's truck engine just dies at that point. Movie magic. One of the great new additions from Rogue Nation onwards was Ilsa Faust. She had a fun, is she a friend or foe thing going on, and was a threat as she was skilled and capable. It's always cool seeing her signature grapple moves, climbing on top of enemies and using her legs on their necks to choke them out. I haven't seen that move elsewhere in movies. She has a kind of romance with Ethan, but they never kissed or anything like that. Even in this movie, the most is her head on his shoulder and hugs. She's grown on me over the last 3 movies, and I like her. That's why I was sad to see Ilsa replaced by Grace. I mean, I can see why they replaced her in this movie. The final act could have been done with Ilsa instead of Grace, but Ilsa is way more competent, so it would have been much easier and not much of a challenge. Grace being a newbie to the team and the thief makes her perfect for pickpocketing, but makes the mission much more challenging as a whole, so it's more entertaining to see a newbie struggle instead of a pro glide with ease. Having said that, I'm still sad Ilsa was replaced. I don't like Grace as much, and I doubt she'll grow on me as much as Ilsa did. Sad. Now let's talk about the big movie magic moments. There are 2, one being less obvious. Let's talk about the obvious one first. When Grace is about to be shot, Ethan just blasts through the train wall and knocks out the 2 bad guys. When that happened, I was like, really? I thought Ethan was going to land on top and then climb down and enter through the door or something. How does a person blast through a train wall? It's not like it's made of a thin wooden board. If a person blasts through a sturdy metal train wall, then his body must be completely shattered, but nope, not a scratch on Tom Cruise. Oh, and how did he blast through the correct train car, or even specifically the spot of the train car where the baddies were standing? Did he even know where Grace was or that she was in trouble there? Nope, it was sheer dumb luck. Movie magic. Come on, man, that's cheap and I expect more from a mission movie. Don't use movie magic like that. Another movie magic moment, when the train cars are falling off the cliff, as soon as the train car is dangling fully, it falls pretty damn quickly, and this keeps happening again and again, except for when Ethan and Grace are in the fully dangling car. Then the train car stays dangling for a long time, just long enough for them to get out. Again, movie magic. If you're going to set a scene like that, make it consistent. If you're going to make the train cars dangle for a while, then make all of them dangle for a while. Don't make all of them fall quickly and then make the last one hang on super long before falling just because the train car knows Tom Cruise is still in it. When I saw the three of them watching the last train car fall, it was another, come on, really? Moment for me. It wasn't satisfying at all, it felt cheap. I think Uncharted 2 did a much better job with this train falling scene. Funny how a video game that did it first also did it better than a movie that emulated it over a decade later. So yeah, those things kept this movie from making it really top tier like Fallout. Having said that, I'm going to watch it again, maybe in theaters again, but definitely when it comes out on digital. As I said, I was disappointed comparing it to Fallout, but this was still fun. The set pieces were cool, Tom Cruise does what he does best, entertaining us and giving our money's worth. I hope part 2 is even better or at least doesn't have the same problems as part 1.